Hello, everyone. This is Cullen on Film back again for another episode. We'll be doing a few of them tonight. I'm here with Dave Hiltebrand, known for like 24 years ago. I think we met 24 years ago.
Is that the number? Holy cow.
Yeah. So that's crazy, right? I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, oh, my God, that's time. It goes back a long time. And I remember it like it was yesterday. So,
yeah, man.
University.
Great time.
So when you were there right away, when I first met you, you had your guitar, big into music. How was and when you started out, you were a music major there, correct?
I was, yeah.
How was that program? How was that college?
It was good. I was there for 2 full years, and one of my teachers, I had an incredible. I was studying electric bass there when I was. I played some guitar, but it was mostly a bass player.
Yeah.
And my teacher there, who's sadly passed away a number of years ago, but he was a great influence. He heard me say what I wanted to do and urged me to transfer to another school.
Yeah.
UD was awesome, and I got college for those couple of years, but he urged me to go to a more of a conservatory music school if I wanted to, make a living making music. So I ended up transferring to DePaul University in Chicago, which was cool, but that wasn't college. That was like I started working as a musician, and then was going to school-ish, got a degree in music. And so it was a little more of like a, serious training, but Dayton was college to me. Those 2 years I packed in, that was where all the fun was.
Yeah, I ended up 4 years there, and I thought, ended up teaching film TV, which is something I wasn't even doing back then. I was doing radio mostly. So
yeah, I remember the radio thing. Yeah. So how did you get to the film and TV?
You know what? It was when we were in college. It was the junior year. I did all this radio stuff, and junior year, he needed internships. So I was like, I want to work on a movie behind the scenes. And Kevin Smith was from the area. So I emailed Kevin Smith and I emailed Ed Burns, because he was Long Island, independent film. So I emailed them both, and Kevin Smith actually answered me, and I was like, can I intern? And he goes, sure.
No way, man. That's awesome.
So it was a summer interning there and learning film. And even though I still did kind of radio here or there, I was obsessed with film. That was that's kind of the route I did, and now I'm teaching it. So
that's great. And tell me, where do you teach specifically?
Middletown North High School in New Jersey. So
awesome, man. That's great.
Program now, and I've done it for 3 years, and it's just amazing. So it's great teaching arts. Now we have an arts program there now, so it's all. It's not just film. It's acting. It's music. We have a lot of musicians, a lot of singers, and it's really big for singers there as well.
That's awesome. It sounds great
to have you on, because that's what you are. You're a musician, and we're trying to get a series of people to come on and talk, since we're all home doing this right now instead of being in school and having guests come in. So I'm getting people from Chicago, LA to come in here and talk, and then the students will check it out. So
it's great, man. Well, hey to the students, man. It's awesome. Way to go, and sparking some curiosity and some inspiration in some young people to do this, because that's, as that's where the real seeds start is high school. That's where the real thing happens.
What got you interested in music? Like how far back?
Since I was could reasonably walk. My dad's a musician, still is. He's 80. He's 82. Going to be 83 this year, and he just retired as a full-time musician just within the last year. So he's a pianist. So I grew up, hearing the American Songbook and theater music. My brother's an actor, singer and actor, who's older than me by about 14 years. So I got exposed at a young age, for sure, from a ton of music in the house. And then my brother, who's closest to me, a year and a half apart, we played in bands together in high school, grade school. And I just kind of naturally picked up the piano, took lessons, but then gravitated towards the guitar and the bass, and ultimately made it through high school and decided, you know what, I want to do this. And so I decided to be a music major, found University of Dayton, and the rest is history. And I've been a full-time musician since graduating college. Actually, probably since before I graduated, I was working full-time. So I'm extremely lucky.
Yeah, and now that all this is going on, and you want to tell people what you're doing. So we were listening to you, and if you have a link, we could maybe put the link up there for you. So.
Oh, that's kind. What I've been doing is just kind of what a lot of musicians do. we got faced with this situation of like our entire schedules instantly disappearing, because when you make a living in front of audiences, and I do private events, corporate events, concerts, I work in casinos, obviously densely packed public places. And as of right now, as everybody knows, everything is kind of, the world is on hold. So for musicians and actors, television too, everything just is ground to a halt, and being forced to be at home. Now, for me, it hasn't been the worst because I'm mostly a solo musician these days. I sing, but I'm mostly acoustic guitar player, and I have been playing solo gigs for many years. I make probably 80% of my living by myself, solo. And I've done all sorts of different things. I've toured, I've done Broadway show tours, I've been in bands, but in this last chunk of years, I've been doing solo work. So in the lockdown, I decided to, I don't know what gave me the idea, but I went out to my garage and built a little, rudimentary set and decided to do a garage cast. I'm heavily influenced by, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and my favorite is Mark Maron's WTF. So obviously there's a big connection to the garage, as he launched his kind of career resurgence from his own garage. And now he's, one of the most legendary podcasters there are. And so I thought, hey, I got a garage and I got an iPhone. I'll just book gigs myself and continue to play. And I did one, I think the first one was kind of early on, even before we were locked down. And I was stunned. Almost 1,000 people saw it. And I just, I put the tip link up and I got some money. And I started doing a couple a week, and it's been amazing. Like, I mean, I couldn't have done this in normal times to get that kind of viewership on Facebook. But everyone's home and kind of, looking at the same TV options every night. And now they can pop over and see a living room concert and somebody playing our music. So I've been doing Thursday nights, and then also Tuesday afternoons. I do Thursday nights, kind of more my like show where I do my original stuff and I sing and play. I also do kind of yoga music, which is a little bit more relaxing guitar stuff, kind of atmospheric. I'm heavily influenced by film music myself, and we can talk about that too. But this style of guitar playing, I think, is really good for people to relax and chill their minds out. So on Tuesday afternoons at 3 p.m. Central Standard, I'm doing an hour of this kind of chill out, meditative acoustic guitar hour for, just anyone who needs a break.
Ming would like that. He does yoga.
What's that?
Ming would like that. He does yoga.
Oh, good. Cool. Right on. Yeah, I had a record I put out in 2016 called Yogatar, and it's all nylon string acoustic guitar and kind of cinematic sounding, but with the idea was to bring the serene atmosphere of the yoga studio to even non-yoga, practice, people, just a calm mental experience to chill out your thoughts and have some pretty guitar music help you do just that. So
I know when we were home at school, I was listening to you. I was doing my work online with the students and grading all their work online, and you were on, so I had you on in the background.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I got your message. I was so touched by that. Yeah,
I was logged on. I was listening to your music. I was just doing work, and it was really chill for me. And it just, I love work, listening to music while I'm working anyway. So
well, that's great. And that kind of music, and I'm never offended by that. People background music, it's like people can digest music however they want. In the background, if it helps them, think or calm down or exercise or whatever, or if they want to watch, actively and be an active audience member, it's all cool, man. So to hear that you could get some work done listening to me play, that, biggest compliment in the world. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it really helps me do that. And especially even when I'm sitting down, well, I don't do too much writing anymore, but when I was like writing scripts and things, some music and mostly, chill music.
Cool.
Use the guitar, because that makes me think more than like hard rock at that time.
Yeah.
So, so it really helped getting, because I had to read a lot of comments and things that the kids didn't check off and all that stuff. So the online teaching was all new. It's all new. So
yeah. How's that been going for you?
We're off this week for Easter, but
that's nice.
For like at least probably it might be the whole year. Who knows?
Really? Yeah.
We'll see, but it's different because I teach film, so it's hands-on. So I'm like giving stuff on directors, and I thought this would be a great way for the show. Here, it was a great way to show kids, here's someone in the industry and music and film and all that kind of stuff. Now, in my direct classes, they do film, but a lot of kids are interested also in music and score.
Oh, cool. Great.
That's something I wanted to ask you about is, have you ever done score or think about doing score for like a short film or any kind of film?
Mhm.
Has anyone ever approached you about that, or you ever
I've
thought?
done it actually. Yeah, I've scored a few things. I used to write some music for like more advertisement stuff. I did some work for Nike and Allstate and kind of like corporate kind of videos. They're really fun.
Yeah.
And with a cinematographer friend of mine, and this is about 2010. And then I've also done a couple of shorts, one of which I think was going to go into festival stuff maybe this year. I haven't heard about that. But yeah, it's like one of my deepest loves, but I came to a transition point when I turned 30 to potentially move to California and really do it. And I went as far as having a connection to Hans Zimmer at the time, who got me into interview with a couple of his writers at Remote Control. And I got to go up close and personal and see them. They were all working on Pirates of the Caribbean. And it was really thrilling to be in that space and kind of, I was like, okay, I can move to LA and really do this. And when I was there, it wasn't for me. I knew there was a lot of other music I wanted to do, but I love film music probably more than anything. And I just decided, you know what, I could score an indie film in my career and that would be plenty.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be, I wasn't ready for the grind to move my entire life to the, kind of the Hollywood grind. There's so many people that are lifelong, pursuers of that art. And that wasn't really me. Like, film music is still precious to me. And I want to be able to do it. But it didn't become the central focus. But I'm always up for the opportunity to do it, and I love doing it when I do it. So
a lot of filmmakers that are listening, and they're always looking for someone to do a score. So
good, yeah. I mean, have them my email Dave@DaveHiltebrand.com, or hit me up through Facebook. But I'm always happy to talk to somebody, and if there's something I can offer. But I love film music, and I do know some really great composers. In fact, a friend of mine, I just watched Onward last night on Disney.
I was going to watch. Well, all my nieces and nephews, they watched it already. I was going to watch it with them, but I can't.
It's really great. And I met a younger. He's just a few years younger, but we met in a bar. Oh man, 15 years. I don't know how many years ago. Anyway, we used to drink together and hang out. And this is around the time that I had that meeting with at Hans Zimmer's place. And he was pursuing film music in Chicago and thought I was nuts for not pursuing that opportunity and to move out there. Well, anyway, flash forward, he did move to California, and flash forward, he's in the credits of Onward because he's assistant writing for Michael Dana now, and Michael and Jeff Dana. So he's had a nice career, and he's worked on some really big, he just did the Addams Family. They just did Onward with Pixar. And so he started and just, he's hammered and hammered and hammered away at it and just done great. And so I was really proud. I, took a picture of the screen last night with his name in the credits. And I was like, man, who would have thought, us hanging at the bar, here you are in a Pixar movie, it's pretty cool. So, people set your mind to something, you can get to the highest levels, And
it's a good feeling when you know someone and they made it and they got that far. And,
very proud.
With Jen Laporte, how people from a long time ago worked with, and they made it and they're out there. And now, right. Well, maybe my students will now.
For sure, man. I mean, everyone starts
that old guy.
That's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of tough parts of this industry and the twists and turns, but the fact is anyone can do it. And there's no, there's never a carved path. You always can carve a new one, so there's plenty of opportunity, and it's got to start somewhere. And the seeds of inspiration start young. So, I mean, we got hooked young, and look at it, we're still doing it,
in and out different ways, but find different hooks, different ways to get in and whatever. So
for sure,
I'm happy now what I'm doing now, but I like behind the scenes, but I never really directed my own until 2010. That's when it kind of all changed for me.
Oh, cool.
Up at 2010, I directed a short, and then from there, but when I did that, I had a friend that lived with me, and he was music and could do score and stuff. So he watched it, and then he made the score for it, and it blew my mind, changed the whole movie. And
oh, cool.
That was it. Music, like, defines your movie. It really changes the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a director and you want to find the right score, the right person for it, it really will help your film and change it. I've seen it many, many times. Or I've seen it before the music, and then they add the music. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's magical, man. And I think that may be why I didn't want to pursue it personally. I didn't want to see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Because I see behind the curtain of how music is made and being a professional musician, but for film score, it's still magical to me. And once I was starting to get into all the sound libraries and all the technicality of scoring and all that sort of stuff, like I've been interested and I love that stuff. but I didn't want to lose like my like mystery of it, of how it's done. So I just kind of leave it to the people that have the true passion to do it. And, you know, I can still enjoy it, you know, and not get too bogged down in knowing the technicalities of how it happens. And that being said, like I said, I'm always up for the opportunity to try it and do it, you know, in indie films and things like that. But it's magical, you know, adding music to a picture is something very special. So, and I don't know if, I'm sure you saw, did you see the Score documentary? Score, a film music documentary?
No, I don't think I.
Oh man, do yourself a favor and watch that. And they launched a podcast out of that. It's just called Score. But any of your film students, anyone, I mean, composer, director, whatever, it's just a beautiful film about the history of film score. You know, John Williams, Hans Zimmer, everyone, you know, from like the history of the beginnings of film scoring to modern film scoring. It's such a great documentary, and it's so fun to watch. So I would highly recommend any of your students checking it out. It's just called Score, a film music documentary, and then there's a podcast called Score the Podcast, and it's so awesome. They interview current film composers and just talk about, you know, how they started, the art, who the directors they work with, and yeah, it's so interesting. It's such a cool world.
And this new world here of podcasting has been going crazy and blowing up. I love it. I started a few years back, and it went back to radio again almost. So
yeah, right. Visual radio.
So, and I did it. We did this. We have this podcast, Hang On to Your Shorts. They took a little break from it right now because of all this. So I'm doing this one. But, you know, it's a lot of fun. We're in the studio at a shared universe. So Ming and Mike from Comic Book Men, they started this whole universe of podcasters. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's addicting. It's so addicting. I can't stop doing it. I'm doing interview after interview with this show all the time now because I'm just so addicted. Plus, I don't get to talk to many people right now anyway.
Well, I know it's a beautiful thing, man. It's like one of the side bonuses of I feel like, and even, you know, we were talking, I've been doing these Facebook live events. I feel like Facebook, I'm using it for the first time, you know, like the way it was originally intended. You know, it turned into such a kind of a, I don't know, kind of a haven of negativity for the last few years. And, you know, a lot of people got away from it. There was a lot of people ranting and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But in this time, I'm using it, you know, to perform music and then connecting with old friends like you and just people from grade school and my family. Like my parents can tune in. They weren't using Facebook, but they've been, you know, wanting to connect. So now they're watching me play live from my garage via my phone. I mean, it's insane and it's just awesome. And so I feel like, you know, in some of the Zoom meetings and just some of the things, the creative stuff that's happening that never would have happened without this crazy thing happening. You know, it's like what you're saying, it's addicting. It's like, it's a new way of connecting, but it is connecting because I think in a weird way, this isn't going to last long where we're all in the same boat, you know, like everyone's in the same position. So there's this like automatic, like baseline empathy. They're like, oh, you're home too. All right, well, we're in this together. You know, it's kind of, there's something kind of sweet about it, you know? And so for us creators and people that are into media, things like this, it's pretty thrilling to just reach out and there's people right there, you know?
And a lot of people are like, oh, sure, I'll come on. It's not, you know, I'm home. I'm not doing anything. So
yeah, this is great, man. I'm thrilled you asked me.
So, you know, we usually have people in the studio, so we haven't done too many like this. But now, from now on, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of this.
No, I think it's a great format, man. Yeah, it's great. So and you're a great host too.
Yeah. From Chicago, thanks. Well, I mean, I'm in Jersey, you're in Chicago. It's pretty cool stuff.
It's totally awesome, man. I feel like we're back at UD.
Yeah. All right. Now you're in the other room.
7th floor Marycrest, right?
Oh, those were the days. I couldn't imagine going back. Have you ever been back?
I did. You know, I went back to, I did Jersey Boys National Tour in 2011 to 2013, and we played Dayton for 2 weeks. It was one of the first cities on the tour. So I went back and played downtown and then went back to the campus, and it was wild. And I hadn't been back since they had, like, you know, knocked a bunch of buildings down and rebuilt it, but it was pretty cool. It brought back a lot of memories. It looked a lot different. I mean, a lot different than when we were there, but
yeah.
And that was kind of the weird thing when I transferred out of there, it like froze in my mind. Like it was still there to go back to. So when I didn't go back for many years. And then when I finally went back, I was like, whoa, this is way different. But I had a nice time being back in Dayton. I always have great memories Oregon District, and those were my first gigs as a musician. Were in some of those bars there.
Wow, wow, yeah, that's awesome. That's
The
great.
Shed, yeah. Started my career in that bar,
Your Timothy's.
Tim's, yeah, totally, man. I mean, they had to start somewhere,
Somewhere. Yeah, and then so when you transferred and you were back in Chicago, right? That's where.
Yep.
So you're there. Were you also playing gigs outside while you're in school?
Yeah, I was working full time. I didn't live on campus. I moved in with a friend of mine. And so, yeah, I was working kind of full time before I graduated. I joined a really popular band, a Latin kind of pop band, and I was off and running. So I'm very, very lucky that I was able to have music work, full-time work before I even got it. I knew that Chicago was the place to start my career, but I was very lucky to hit the ground running and have a career, start right away before I was even 21. So I was very, very lucky. And yeah, I played a ton of gigs, and I've kind of Chicago's been my home base ever since the late 90s. So yeah, it's a great community here.
I've been out there a few times. It's been a long time, but there was a time period. A lot of Dayton people went out there, so I had to visit.
Yeah. Well, we'd always love to have you back, and likewise, I love coming out your way too. So yeah. I love the East Coast. So
definitely. You ever play in New York? Any gigs in New York? Or just
when I did that Jersey Boys tour, I had I really got lucky because we rehearsed the tour there, so I got to move to Washington Heights for a month. And moved into a sublet there. So I got the experience to feel what it was like to hop on the subway and go to work, on Broadway, rehearsal space, and kind of pretend like I was a New Yorker for a month. So that was pretty awesome. I had a great time and packed a lot in. And then since then, I haven't been back to play. I've done a couple corporate events there, but I haven't done any public shows there in quite some time. So, oh wait, I shouldn't say that. I played Carnegie Hall. Yeah. With the Chicago Children's Choir. That was the last time I played there. They're an amazing organization I play bass with, and I've been with them for 14 years. And they're from young kids all the way up to high school age, but they're a world-class singing group, a choir that's in the Chicago schools and after-school programs. It was an organization founded in the civil rights movement in the late 50s. And they have about 5,000 kids they serve. And I play bass with them, and I do any concerts I can throughout the year. But what's been amazing is that they do these international tours once a year. So I've been to South Africa, I've been to Cuba, Italy, Spain, and then we did a New York tour in 2015, and I got to play at Carnegie Hall with them. So that was mind-blowing. And then we went and played the Kennedy Center. It was crazy, I couldn't believe that I did that. I couldn't believe I was standing on that stage. So yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Looked out there and all the seats and everything.
Oh, it's mind blowing, man. It was nuts. Yeah, beautiful place. So yeah, that's one of those oh yeah, that's right. I did that. That's so crazy. Yeah. So you never know what's gonna.
Years, man. A lot of years, a lot going on. So
yeah,
remembering. Oh yeah, I did this. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything planned once we get out of this? What you want to do or go back to, or any plans in the next few months, hopefully?
Yeah, I'm kind of working on it now. A lot of the music I'm going to do, I have a couple of records I'm going to work on, but the one that's my next album is an album of all original acoustic guitar music, mostly instrumental, but I've got some pop tunes too that I'm singing. But that as soon as I can, I'm going to record that, release it, and then hopefully get out on the road and start playing some shows. So hopefully get out to the East Coast. But yeah, so that's my main drive right now. I still work with that choir, the Chicago Children's Choir, like I said, and I do some composing work when I can, but the main drive right now is my solo career. So I'm going to keep plowing forward. And once this quarantine's over, hit the ground running and get out and play some concerts. So
in my area here, it's a big music area at the Asbury Park area.
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, Springsteen's town. Yeah, man.
Got the Stone Pony, which is classic. That's where he played many years ago. It's still going. So
that's still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
Oh, crazy. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, you got Asbury Park's amazing. So we have our film festival in Asbury Park, which is the next town. It's down about 10 miles. So I go there all the time now, and it's just a beautiful place. And we have our festival last 7 years there. And you got the ocean, and then right across the street is Stone Pony, and then you have all the other places. So there's a lot of venues and a lot of bands come and play here all the time. So
awesome.
You see the ones that are starting out, and then you see the ones that maybe like from the '90s that
Yeah.
they're all coming back and playing at these bars again. So
It's wild how it comes back around.
comes back around. It's like they're not playing the big places anymore. They're in the little places. And you're like, man, it's awesome.
I know, it's crazy. You wait long enough, your favorite artists come back around. You can see them in a tiny venue again. It's pretty cool.
I just recently saw like the Gin Blossom. Remember the Gin Blossom?
Yeah, of course.
In a bar.
That's amazing.
It's like, that was pretty cool to see that.
In fact, we might have just heard them. We were listening to a '90s playlist earlier today. I find that like so often just getting, I was listening to Blues Traveler and Spin Doctors, or just earlier today, and like that music just like hit such a specific time frame for us.
It's so good at the explosion of those bands and that, but they are coming around again, and they're doing concerts with like 3 or 4 or 5 of them even in there. They're just going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So we just saw Live and Bush together, and Candlebox was on a reunion tour.
Candlebox, nice.
Candlebox. Yeah, I was standing in the front row right there, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm standing in the front row. Like, a little crazy, but
so wild, man.
It was fun. It was fun, and he was like, "Slap me 5" and stuff. I was like, man, I feel like 25 years ago.
Yeah, I know, man. It rockets you back in time.
So that was a lot of fun. So a lot of bands are doing that around this area. So it's a lot of fun. And then I'm like, all right, the summer's coming up. It's going to be a lot of bands, a lot of fun. And now you don't know.
Yeah, well, it might be the fall now. Hopefully things will ramp back up. But the thing that's nice to think about in all of this is that when people do start going to movie theaters and concerts again, I just think like the appreciation level is going to be like tenfold, like to really value a communal experience again and hugging people. It's just, so we have that to look forward to. We will get through this, and it will end, and things may be different in some regards, but in some ways, I think that
won't shake hands anymore, and then hopefully something to get rid of this thing, and then we can go back to normal, hopefully.
Yeah, and see some shows together, and people can dance together again. It's going to be an amazing party when it's over. So
I can't wait. I just hope it's sooner than later. That's the only problem.
Oh man, I know. I hear you. Yeah, we have to be patient, I guess. Do it right.
I think in the music industry as well. I know a lot of people are home writing. I talked to some other people. They're home writing songs, and they're doing what you're doing, going on the internet and playing their songs and testing them out. And so maybe they'll have an album ready soon. So
yeah,
musicians are doing that. A lot of filmmakers or writers are writing, so they're ready. So maybe 2-3 months from now, all of a sudden the arts are going to explode.
I think so too. Yeah, I think it's going to be some unique form of a renaissance, because I think we were getting so like self-centric in our pods with our phones and our own little worlds and whatever news and whatever life, entertainment options. It was very you-centric, and now there's the great opportunity for us to feel a collective, something in common again. And yeah, it came out of a tragic situation, and certainly this has been brutal for a lot of people. But on the upside of it, it's also kind of made us more human again and gotten us in touch with our humanity. And that's what art does, is help people connect with that, with themselves and with other people. So I think, yeah, it's been a call to arms for filmmakers and podcasters, for writers, musicians. I feel so much more, like a call to duty, even more now, to play and entertain and connect with people. And for now, the Facebook thing is a joy. I can't believe that it's even possible. I mean, you and I wouldn't have hooked up like this if this hadn't happened, So it's really unique, but I also know that it's going to end and it'll go back to the real world. So it's like we want to take some of this communal, empathy back with us as artists, and remember like how special it is to have an audience, respect your audience, and then, perform to your, heart's content and give them everything you got every time you play. So it's kind of given me this renewed sense of purpose as an artist. So,
absolutely, that's great stuff. So, if usually you want to end these things where it's the person gives advice for my students, for the art students.
Sure.
What advice would you give someone that wants to either make a score or play an instrument or singing as a career? What kind of advice would you give someone in high school? If you're like in front of them right now, what would you kind of tell them?
Man, it's a great opportunity. But I would say that high school is where it really took hold. Like I loved music in grade school. and I knew that I had a knack for it, and it came easily to me, and I loved doing it. And I had a brother who I could play with. That was really important. And I stress the word play because I never liked the word practice.
Yeah.
And even to this day, I still don't like the word practice. Even though it requires tons of practice, I still substitute the word play for practice. So I would say for anyone who's at that age and those teen years, when you're starting to develop whatever your artistic inclination is, get with other people that are passionate about it, talk about it, study it, just soak up as much as you can and have fun, like really cementing that, because the hard stuff will come later if you want to make a living out of it. It is a challenging, path to try and make, a financial life out of it. It's totally possible though too. And I want to say that too. It is a realistic path. And I know most of my friends who went into this are full-time artists, actors, musicians. It's tough, but if you love it, and that's really those years where you're really, honing your love for this thing, that'll carry you through your whole life. And some of my biggest influences I discovered in high school, and they're just as tangible now at the age I am now as they were then. So I would just say, just soak yourself in all the stuff you love. If you love film, see as many films as you can. Find other people that love film and talk to them. If you love music, listen, play with other musicians, and just build that, fan that fire any way you can, because it'll carry you until, the end of your life. So that's all I would say.
Yeah. Was there anyone that you ever wanted to play with when you were younger that you got to play with?
I'm close to that. I'm. That's a good question. I did play with a legendary drummer who played on some of my favorite records and toured with Michael Jackson, and so I've gotten to play with some. I played with a guitar player who played some of the most famous Steely Dan guitar solos, and he's a legend. So yeah, I have gotten to play with a couple of legendary people. I'm still working my way towards playing with Bruce Hornsby. So that's the one. I'm like one step away because his bass player watched my first webcast on Facebook and commented when I was singing a Bruce tune. And Bruce is one of my all-time favorite artists. And so I'm like one step away from hopefully getting to play with him. I'd just be happy playing with him one time. So
be cool if Bruce was tuning in right now listening to this.
Yeah, Hornsby, I'm coming for you, man. I want to play bass with you. So
Bruce, yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, so that was great. Thanks for coming on. And if you have anything you want to promote, and any of your websites or anything like that, I think Ming put some up of your things here. I'm on the private chat. I go to live chat.
No, he was doing it, man. Yeah, Ming, thank you so much for that. That's so. Yeah, maybe that last link, not that one. I don't think that's a live link anymore. But yeah, Spotify. That's cool. My DaveHiltebrand.com, Facebook. Right now, the most active I'm doing is Facebook.com /Dave Hiltebrand. I've got a YouTube channel too. If anyone wants to subscribe there, I'll be posting more stuff there. I've got a couple of videos up there and look to be more active. But right now, Facebook is on Instagram too. You can find me the Instagram, Dave Hiltebrand there too. So anyone who wants to hook up, any questions from younger people about the business or anything, I would be more than thrilled to answer them. Anything I can do, any artists out there, let me know what I can do. I want to see people go after it with all their heart.
What other instruments can you play or like to play other than?
I play piano. I made the first 10 years of my living as a full-time bass player. So yeah. I still play some bass, but I'm mainly playing acoustic guitar. But I play electric guitar, acoustic guitar, sing, and then piano when I can. So yeah,
that's great. Well, thanks for coming on, and it's great to talk to you out from Chicago. When are you going on again?
I'll be back on and doing my like mellow guitar stuff on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard, and then I'll be back on for my regular Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time a week from tonight. So you can find all that info on Facebook, and I post about it on Instagram too. But
watch what you did earlier tonight, right?
Yeah. It's all of my performances are up on my Facebook page if you want to watch them. So yeah. If you want to see what I do, that's what I'm doing.
I'm going to be up for a while. So
put on the background, man.
Yeah, definitely. So
this was such a treat. Thank you so much for having me on. This was so much fun to do, and so great to see you in person again.
Yeah, right. This is great. I love this thing. So I'm going to keep doing it. More and more people are like, oh, I'll go on. So I'm like, yeah, let's keep doing it. It's great.
Yeah, keep doing it, man. You're on to something. You're a great host, and I think it's a wonderful thing, especially for this rare, like we were talking, this special time where we're all in the same boat. You've got a lot of open minds out there and a lot of open eyes who want to see some new stuff and are open to it, and they're at home. So keep doing it, man. And keep teaching too. Good for you. Way to inspire the young people.